The Colts. Greg Jennings is not here, but we're still talking Colts. They moved to 7-1, the best team according to the standings. Not the standings.
This is the standings, though. That's fine.
3 touchdowns for Jonathan Taylor, 3 TDs for Daniel Jones, 6 total touchdowns. No, caught one. Nick, was this enough to make you finally believe in the Indianapolis Colts?
Let me tell you what I do believe in. I do believe in Jonathan Taylor.
Yes.
And I think Jonathan Taylor has actually a stronger case to be included in real MVP consideration than Saquon did last year.
Really?
Yes, because Jonathan Taylor doesn't have the quarterback or the receivers or the defense that Saquon did.
Okay.
And if we show you Jonathan Taylor's numbers, also last year, Saquon had an amazing year, but Derrick Henry had 90% of the year.
Yes.
This year, Jonathan Taylor's on pace to win the rushing title by 500 yards and score 10 more TDs than anybody else. So I do believe in Jonathan Taylor. But do I believe, and I mostly believe in Shane Steichen, but do I believe that Daniel Jones can keep this magic trick going? I do not. And I understand. We all want to believe. And you watch it long enough, and you say, wait, it feels real. And there is a childlike nature almost where you're like, logically, I know it's not real, but I watch it week after week after week. And if you see it long enough, you tell yourself, well, maybe if I just suspend disbelief, maybe there actually is something mystical going on. Maybe Daniel Jones could go to Arrowhead and win the AFC title, or host the AFC title game and then win the Super Bowl. And then you are snapped back to reality and you say, it's a fun show, but I know that's not real. And that's the idea that Daniel Jones is going to go through, maybe Lamar, certainly Josh, young star Drake May, and then end boss Patrick Mahomes to make the Super Bowl. So no, it's an amazing story and very entertaining.
Yeah, very much.
High octane every weekend.
I'm like, wow.
But I do not believe, Coach, that this is the best team in football.
Yeah, I didn't come away from the game yesterday thinking that things had changed. They played the Titans, who's arguably the worst team in the league, with an interim head coach, with a rookie quarterback who's struggling, mightily. So I would have gone the other way had they struggled against the Titans and said this is more magic than reality. I would say, though, Daniel Jones, in watching him at the Giants, he was about as tough as any quarterback I've ever seen. I've rarely seen someone take the beating that Daniel Jones took and be able to come back and play, to even play the way that he did. So there is a Jalen Hurts type quality to Daniel Jones, I think, and with this formula seems very much in line with the Eagles type formula. And I do think Jonathan Taylor is having a year that could carry the team further than
expected.
They've already done further than what was expected. But Daniel Jones, I think, can be efficient enough to be as much a part of the formula as Jalen Hurts was.
First of all, that was excellent.
What?
That
My analysis?
Because
I didn't. Was there something here?
I didn't even know. I thought you were just talking
I
about me.
was so caught up in what Nick was saying.
Thank you.
I mean, that is the question. Because everything, and I know they don't have like the elite receivers. They got a nice little core.
They have a nice receiving core.
Right, but it's not, the Bengals or something
Nick's
like
some
that.
amazing catches.
Maybe they're making names for themselves, but they have the great running back and then a lot of really good players. And it's hard to believe that Daniel Jones is going to make this jump. Obviously, Greg has believed in him, saw something in him.
For Greg, it's not really a jump. Greg thought he was already good, really good.
You did see things with the Giants. His rookie year, Coach, was good. And then he started getting, they had a bunch of offensive coordinators, different head coaches, and he had a number of those guys throughout his career there. Had his first year with Dable was really good. Didn't throw a lot of touchdowns, but played a good playoff game. And maybe with Steichen, I don't think he'll ever be like a top 5 quarterback or anything like that. But maybe with Steichen, he is, say, the next Sam Darnold. And we have seen him be really good in a playoff game. He was great in his first one when we beat Minnesota and then struggled in the next one. But look, they've beaten 2 winning teams, Denver and the Chargers. But they've done to the tomato cans what they should do. Like, they crush them.
I mean,
they don't just beat them. Yeah, they crush them. Here's the thing, and you shouldn't worry about them from a Chiefs perspective. But 2 things I would look at. They could be the number 1 seed.
Yes.
Because their schedule, we know they're in the not a tough division, and they don't have, many great teams left on their
Kansas City and Seattle are the toughest.
That's
that
it.
Week 12 off of a bye, very instructive.
Well, and that'll be interesting how they approach, because the second thing I was going to say, Lou Anarumo, their defensive coordinator, who we know has played well against the Chiefs when he was in Cincinnati. So it'll be interesting, Coach, to see how they play that game. Yeah. If you were in their shoe, like Anarumo, I imagine you would not show the Chiefs a lot of your stuff defensively. Is that fair to say?
I would imagine they're going to do what they can to beat the Chiefs because they're in a different spot than where Kansas City is. And Nick talks about it all the time, where a lot of times during the regular season, they're doing things knowing that they're going to be in the postseason, where Indianapolis is still trying to gain the confidence that they are an elite team. So to get a win like that at that point in the season could be a moment for them, and from a momentum perspective, very powerful.
Starting to see it a little bit.
But you don't.
I'm a Patriots guy, but I don't totally believe. But part of that I was like, well, it looks like they're back. Back-to-back games, keeping their opponents under 20. Plenty of offense via Henry and Huntley. The Ravens erase all concerns.
Coach, they're calling it T7. The toy toss that transformed the tacklers.
Wow.
The Ravens defense.
That's good. You should trademark that. I want a T-shirt right now.
Look, I said this a few weeks ago. I meant it. They are still S-Bob.
Of course.
Right? But I'm saying, Nick, their start has been so bad that if they just make the playoffs, I think in a lot of senses it'll feel like it was a great, even if they get beat.
Not by the time they get
to go from 1-5 to, you know what I mean? But I'm trying to push back on that because that won't be like success. That'll be a step backwards. Like they are supposed to be in the hunt, in the mix to win that Super Bowl. So, I feel incredibly confident about them making the playoffs, winning the division. They do control their own destiny because they're 2 games behind the Steelers, and they play the Steelers twice.
Oh, you mean if they win out? Yes.
Yeah. But if they beat the Steelers twice, then it's like, they control their own destiny. And their schedule is lighter. They do have New England, which will be tough. They got Green Bay. Obviously, that's going to be tough. And their division it's going to be some tough games. So I'm not saying it's easy, but I expect the Steelers to lose several games. They have a tougher schedule than the Ravens.
You expect a 5-game winning streak right now?
Definitely beat Miami, Minnesota, Cleveland.
You expect a 5-game winning streak?
Yeah.
You know what?
I'm not saying I can't say I expect them to win out, but they certainly could win out until they get to New England and Green Bay. Now that might not be enough. They can only probably lose 1 more game, maybe.
It's so interesting that you're talking about S-Bob because you feel John Harbaugh's emotions there, where he's saying we didn't win a championship or anything, but that sense of relief to get off that losing streak, and that's huge. And to get off it with the knowledge that Lamar's coming back, that's huge too. Patrick Ricard, their big fullback, was back.
Helped.
And the way that they're talking, where they said, look, we're 1-0 now, and I think that's the way that you have to frame it if you're Baltimore, is that what's happened has happened. but we're significantly healthier than we were. We just won a game. We're going to get Lamar back, and all they need to do is just keep stringing together these 1-0 weeks,
Yep.
and forget about what's going to happen 5 weeks from now. Just get the next one, because they haven't shown that they're good enough to think anything further than the next game.
That's fair.
And you felt it in the locker room, and you've got the cavalry coming with Lamar coming back. This could change dramatically for him here.
Before you go, Nick, quickly, show this graphic on the defense. How much stock do you put in their defensive improvement from the first 5 games to the last 2? I'm not saying they're a top 10 defense now. I'm just saying they're showing improvement.
Yeah, so the way that we would always try to look at it is in blocks of 4. So the first quarter of the season, now we've got 17 games now, but it was what was trending. And the fact that over the last 2 games, be interesting to see 4 versus 4 there, but over the last 2 games, they're trending in the right direction. that's what I was talking about with Dallas, is I wanted to see the trend, because once you get a certain block of stats, it's hard to climb that high in the rankings.
Right.
But you can see significant progress from your defense, even though it may not show dramatically in the overall rankings.
All right. I want to talk about something that I think is a bigger picture concern for Baltimore that is far bigger than even this season and whether or not they make the playoffs. And that is why John Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson are never on the same page about Lamar's injuries. Because the Ravens are going to get in a lot of trouble. I don't really think that.
You think?
I'm certain of it. I mean, they're going to get fined.
You think?
They're going to get fined. So if people don't know what happened, here's what happened. The Ravens said Lamar was a full participant at Friday's practice. Saturday it came out he was missing the game. They then retroactively were like, actually limited participant, because when we said he was full, we meant he did all of the scout team reps that is specifically not allowed. In fact, it is written in the CBA, if a player who's typically a starter is fully participating as a scout team player, you have to list him as limited. Everybody, in light of the NBA scandal going on, jumped on the gambling piece of this, which is they were 6.5-point favorites, and all of a sudden they're 1.5 or 2.5-point favorites. They covered both anyway. That was not the story. The story is John Harbaugh is always on one timeline with Lamar Jackson injuries, and Lamar is on another one. This is all courtesy of the Baltimore Banner. Credit to great local independent journalism. But this isn't like anonymous quotes. They just went through the transcripts. 2021, Lamar Jackson hurts his ankle. The next day, John Harbaugh is asked about him playing in Week 15. I'd say he has a chance. Just one of those things where it's an ankle sprain. He starts feeling good and everything's all right. We'll check him out, probably pregame. He's in all the preparations and all of that. We'll see where we're at. That was going into Week 15. Lamar did not play again that season. Harbaugh, when asked about it after the season, says, Lamar felt like he was going to be back. The first week, he thought he had a chance. The second week, he assured me. He said, I'll be back, I'll be back. He did not play again. The next year, Lamar hurts his knee. John Harbaugh says, it's not season-ending type of knee. We'll get more tests tomorrow, let you know how long it's going to be. We'll see if he can go back this week. If not, he'll be back sometime after that shortly. Then they make the playoffs despite being on a losing streak. Schefter reports, league sources, which keep in mind, Lamar has no agent. Right. So whenever there's Lamar reporting going on, it's from the team because Lamar doesn't have an agent leak things. Schefter says everyone thinks Lamar is going to play in the playoff game. Lamar doesn't play in the playoff game, and then Lamar tweets, hey guys, I got a grade 2, almost a grade 3 PCL. You don't have to read the whole thing, but Lamar, it was shocking when he did it, and we thought it might be contract related. Yeah. Now, this time, here is John Harbaugh. Why are you optimistic going into the bye? Our quarterback is going to be back. That's probably a big one. John Harbaugh, then after going on Friday, full practice today for Lamar. So that's good. And we'll see where we're at going forward. I postulate the Ravens listed him as a full participant to put added pressure on Lamar to play. There is no, they were not trying to game a gambling line. And you can be like, oh, they're trying to get a competitive edge. The competitive edge works in the other direction. You don't get an edge on the Bears by making them think Lamar's playing. And so
right.
there is a clear disconnect. So when you guys say Lamar's definitely back Thursday, I don't know that. I don't know why the head coach and Todd Monken seem to consistently think Lamar is healthy enough to play, and then Lamar is not healthy enough to play.
I'll be quick, Coach. I'll defer to you. This is disturbing or bizarre.
Yes.
I should say bizarre. And I remember all those years thinking, okay, he's going to be back.
Yes.
Now, I fully expect him to play Thursday. If he doesn't play Thursday, I will kind of be like, this is crazy, just like the previous years were. Coach, I'm wondering, is he one of those guys that has to feel like I am 100%? I'm not going out there if any little thing is bothering me.
Even if he's that, shouldn't Harbaugh know that by now? He's the only coach Harbaugh's ever had.
From a competitive advantage standpoint, there is actual value in saying he's going to play because you have to spend reps of practicing against Lamar Jackson. So if you're prepping for him, you've got to do different things. You've got to get a spy. You've got to figure out the things he does best.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Can I just ask you this though? From a competitive edge, what would give Baltimore a bigger edge? The Bears thinking Tyler Huntley's playing, and then, oh my God, that's Lamar Jackson's music, or the opposite. The Bears thinking, if anything, if they thought it was Huntley, maybe they relax a little, they think it's going to be easy, and then Lamar comes out. If you think it's going to be Lamar, you guarantee the Bears have their full attention all week at practice. I think it works the opposite in this instance.
You're just trying to waste the other team's time. That's usually what it is, because you've got to do reps, you've got to do cards, you've got to do tape, you've got to do all these things from a coaching staff standpoint and a player standpoint to study the starting quarterback, and it wastes a ton of time. That's why sometimes they'll do things like on an extra point, we'll line up some gadget formation on an extra point, just so someone has to waste time practicing.
But don't you think Harbaugh thought Lamar was going to play Sunday when he said on that on Friday?
I think that John is always optimistic that he's going to play, and he's going to be optimistic, aggressively. Now, I got fined $25,000 one time because I didn't list Brett Favre's injury the correct way, where he had a high ankle sprain and he practiced all week, and I said he was a full participant. He was, and then he went out and he lit it up and threw 5 touchdowns, which I thought, no problem. A year later, they fined me $25,000 because they said I didn't list the injury properly. And I said, well, wait, if I had said he had an ankle sprain, wouldn't people have, if I had said this other thing, and then he threw 5 touchdowns, wouldn't that be way worse? Right. But they didn't care. So I would imagine this fine, if that was...
I think they might lose a draft pick.
What?
That's what the CBA says.
When you're getting fined that amount of money for something...
Nothing.
That small thing that I did...
But every
the guy
did
participate.
That has been a full participant in Friday practice plays Sunday.
So just to show a scenario. Full participant. We had video of him going, and Dusty was getting my ear he'd give me updates. I'm like, Lamar's going to play. He's got his helmet on. He's moving around, although it wasn't super athletic. Right. At the tail end of Friday's practice, the very tail end. He doesn't feel great. Goes home. It doesn't feel great.
Then you're limited.
Then you have a game on Thursday, and you're like, you know what? I'm going to sit this one out.
But that's not what happened.
No, it makes sense if he plays.
But hold on,
Thursday.
real quick. That is not at all what happened.
When do you have to list it?
But hold on. Here's the problem.
Post-practice. But if at my house it happens.
Chris Jones leaves. So Chris Jones Sunday morning leaves to go to a funeral. They then have to update his status for the game as questionable, personal reason. But what you're describing...
But he would have still been a full participant in practice.
Yeah, and I want to just make this very clear. What you're describing is not what happened. He did not spend a single rep in Friday's practice with the starters.
Right.
Everything he did Friday was what the third-string quarterback does, run scout team. And then the Ravens listed him as full, which told the entire... So I think...
No way that's an honest mistake.
I mean, Harbaugh after the game blamed the PR department.
From a gambling perspective, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And gambling now is so much different than it ever has been.
So
you list a guy like Lamar Jackson as a full participant in practice, and he doesn't...
didn't practice.
And didn't practice. That's
And I don't. And my focus is not the
expensive.
gambling angle, but I think that's why the NFL is going to hammer.
But that is what makes it.
That's what.
Yeah, that's what
I
makes
think
it so bad.
Also, our group chat, Brew was destroyed.
Brew was like, well, there it is.
I thought they were done. There's no question. I thought they were losing that game.
They're in Miami on Thursday. Aaron Rodgers' non-revenge game saw the Steelers' defense get gashed 454 yards as Rodgers' old squad put up 35 points on his current squad. Also, lots of Packers fans at Heinz Field. Coach, are you starting to worry about Rodgers and the Steelers after this loss?
Ironically, I'm not worried about Rodgers, but I am worried about the Steelers' defense. I thought this was going to be not very good between Aaron Rodgers and Arthur Smith. I thought there were going to be a lot of problems. But to Aaron Rodgers' credit, he's been a really good teammate. He's been a really good member of the Steelers. It hasn't been about him. He hasn't created issues. There hasn't been bickering between him and the offensive coordinator. That part to me is amazing, and I'm really happy for him and for Pittsburgh. But defensively, this is back-to-back games where they've given up 30 points, including to Flacco, who had been there for, 15 minutes? So
Right.
that's the highest paid defense. And then statistically, where they rank, it doesn't look like that's getting much better either. I know they had the run of the 5-sack games, but this is nowhere near on brand with the Steelers that we're used to seeing, even though everything with Rodgers has worked out, I'd argue, much better than I expected.
Yeah, overall, this is what I thought they were. Like a good team that I don't remember. I think I picked them as a wild card.
You definitely, because you were debating between them and Cincinnati.
Okay.
You ended up going Cincinnati. It was
with
51-49
right.
the whole time.
So, 9.
But you thought it was going to be the other direction, right? Like you thought, when you're saying it's what you thought they were going to be.
Yeah, I thought they would be a 9 or 10 win team, but barely miss out on the playoffs because of Rodgers.
Yes.
Not the defense. And we know their calling cards have been defense and running game, and neither of those is playing well.
Yeah, now it's just
but
Boswell.
Rodgers is playing solid. They do need. They could use another receiver too. I mean, DK Metcalf obviously great. If he had another receiver, I think that'd help him out. But Rodgers is playing well. But the team, and then I mentioned their schedule. You know, the Ravens schedule gets a lot easier. The Steelers, when they got Detroit coming up, I don't know if they'll put it up on the screen. You see, you got Detroit, you got obviously the Ravens twice, Buffalo, still the Chargers, the Colts, Colts. So
yeah, they only have
they
two
got
teams that are out of it in Miami and Cleveland, and one of them's a divisional game.
But you thought going into the season that this team was going to be anywhere near this bad defensively?
No. I thought the quality of the team would be roughly this. But I thought it would be reversed. I thought the defense would be playing well, the run game would be okay, and Rodgers would be kind of holding it back a little bit.
Right.
But he's been very good.
So listen, I agree with you guys in large part. Here's the thing. Rodgers, from the biggest criticisms of Rodgers last few years have been some play, but mostly the intangible stuff.
All the
He's been excellent on that. And I really thought his brief moment on the field, because NFL, I think it was NFL film, somebody has the audio of him talking to Jordan. I thought it was really, touching is maybe too strong, but really great. And like when they both said "I love you" to each other, I was like, I totally believe that. You know, and so I thought that was really cool. And I do think he has been even keeled. Like, I give him credit for that. And I think he is doing as well as a 41-year-old not named Tom Brady could possibly do. He's not turning the ball over. He still makes a couple, holy moly, look at that pass play.
He had that first
the big play yesterday.
Night,
but he's yet to hit 250 yards passing because he's just not you saw him yesterday when it's like, oh man, the quick hitter stuff isn't working. I'm going to have to hold on to the ball a little bit longer. And he's not mobile enough, and the offensive line can't hold up. But the real problem, Coach, is what you said. This is, and I've said this for a year now, when you pay a quarterback, the idea is, hey, you're going to have to do more with less. Like when you're on a rookie contract, we get you a bunch of toys, but once you get paid, you need to do more with less. When Mike Tomlin's your head coach, in theory, you shouldn't need the highest paid defense in the history of pro football to have a really good defense. They gave that to him anyway, And I like Tomlin a lot. I think Tomlin is a great coach holistically. But for the defense to be this bad with that many star players on it and a defensive-minded coach is unforgivable. Like, it just, like, that can't happen. Yeah. And that's...
Yeah, I never would have thought at the start of the season that we'd go this far into the season without an Aaron Rodgers major story of some sort of turmoil he created.
Yeah. Great.
And then we'd have back-to-back 30-plus games by the Steelers defense, and they'd be, what, 30th in...
Yeah, he quit McAfee. He's been efficient. He's been good.
Which is really a huge thing. Like, that's where a lot of his controversy was created.
Would you believe that Daniel Jones is going to light up the Steelers' poorest defense next week?
Probably.
Yeah, I would believe.
I mean, it probably looks like.
We are not huddling for this segment. Sorry. Dud watch. Caleb, no touchdowns. One horrible interception.
You just ticked Nick off.
Bears only score 16 points.
What?
We're a long way away from him being on the top of Mahomes' mountain.
He was never on the top.
Near the top.
He was
near the peak.
far too close.
Are you panicking?
Too close.
Why would I panic?
Nick's already dumped.
Why would I panic? This is Danny Parkin's problem, everybody. Tune in to First Things First Overtime, about 35 minutes. I'll tell you this much. Maybe I should say. I watched football yesterday at Danny's beautiful house up in your neck of the woods, up in Schenectady or wherever you guys live. And he was in shambles. And I was like, man, must be rough being the Caleb guy on the show. Couldn't be me. Here's what I would say. So the numbers are the numbers, and we can show them to you. They're not good. And that's his ranks for the season. Now, Brew does know I do like yards per attempt. That's one of my favorite quarterback stats, and he is top 10 in that. Here is the real problem, though. And this is not fair. But if you remove one game, those are his numbers. And that's just the
just lighting up.
Yeah, if you just remove lighting up the Cowboys, which, you know, if I'm going to be fair, we're going to talk about Bo Nix in a bit. I'm not putting a ton of stock into Bo Nix lighting up the Cowboys, so fair is fair. And speaking of Bo Nix, and here is what is bad narratively. This would not be my rankings. But if Fox Sports or The Athletic or whomever did we're going to redraft the quarterbacks from 2 years ago.
Oh, Drake's in Chicago.
I think this would be the majority opinion. Drake May, first quarterback taken. Jaden Daniels, second quarterback taken. And I think everyone would have one of those two guys first. Like, it'd be 1, 2, 2, 1, those two. Sure. And right now, this moment, I disagree with this, but I think the majority opinion would be Bo Nix 3.
I don't think that's controversial.
No.
At all.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think the majority opinion would have that. And then Caleb 4. I don't agree with Brew that the Ravens defense is just all of a sudden fixed. I think that was a brutal performance in a big spot for Caleb.
Yeah, I said this a while ago, but Coach, to me, he looks like a great athlete trying to play quarterback. And I know he was phenomenal, obviously, through high school and college. But it never looks easy. Even when he makes a great play, it just doesn't look smooth. Like, I'm not even going to say the great quarterbacks. Like most quarterbacks. With Caleb, we talk about things you don't talk about with other quarterbacks, the operation, getting rid of the ball and stuff like that.
Hitting open guys.
Yeah, it's just like, and so that's what stuns me. Like, even when it's going good for him, it still looks difficult. And so it'll be interesting, he and Ben Johnson, and I'm not suggesting they're making a quarterback change. I don't see that anytime soon. But they obviously like the backup. I mean, they gave him, the $10 million deal. And I think Ben Johnson wants a guy that's on time.
But Ben Johnson took the job to work with Caleb.
Right, which I get. And look, maybe, there is improvement. I'm not writing him off. I may be writing him off as a star, but
Yeah, I do not want to be overly loved by Nick. I mean, the prince that was promised, discarded. Caleb Williams,
I have not given
Caleb
up
Williams
on
on
the
Mahomes Mountain, discarded.
If the playoffs started today,
No,
then
he
Jackson would be in
drops
it, by the
them
way.
quickly.
Throws those dudes out.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, the Bears were just on a 4-game winning streak, right?
Yeah.
Last time that happened was 2018. He is the quarterback of the team.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's some progress there. He's been sacked half as many times, or 50% less than he was the year before. That's real progress. On the pick that they showed, the wide receiver's running the in cut, and he runs it up the field instead of shaving it down, so he allows the defensive back to undercut him. So yeah, that's a Caleb issue, but the wide receiver doesn't do a very good job of doing his technique either, and allows the defensive back to undercut it, which shouldn't happen. So he should take some accountability for that too. So is it perfect? No, but there's been some good things with this team overall. And the idea of throwing it away, he's in with a new head coach, a new coordinator, a new system, and there's been some positives. So to write him off at this point, and Drake
You still think a star
Drake May's had
potential?
a pretty big bonus here by getting who he got paired up with this year too. I don't know if we would have had that same draft reshuffling where he's ahead of Jaden Daniels. I mean, come on now.
Well, I mean,
Ben Johnson's supposed to be this genius. What
I
strikes
know,
me,
and
Coach,
he's
is like Ben Johnson.
How many games into it?
Every time it goes, like Caleb does something, then they cut to Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson's like,
Yeah,
Ben Johnson's body language has been worse than Caleb's this year.
he just looks so upset.
Yeah.
And just disappointed. He looks disappointed. Just
Well, yeah, he's got
run
a team that was on a 4-game win streak, losing to a team that was on a 4-game losing streak. You're going to be upset
with their
about
backup.
that.
With their backup.
With their backup, and the receivers should run the route better.
Bears at Bengals next week, who lost to the Jets. He better win next week. Eagles put up 38. A.J. Brown was on the sideline. Jalen Hurts is in the end zone. 4 touchdowns. Saquon went for 150. What is your number one takeaway from this win? Nick, we can start with you today.
The NFL's got to fix this, man. You can't have.
This wasn't great.
It is one thing for the Tush Push objections to be, it's not a football play, it's boring, it's bad TV. Because the pushback on that, no pun intended, is get better at it, get tougher, learn how to stop it, all of it. What you can't have is teams figuring out how to stop it and the refs being like, nope, doesn't count. So we have so this is as obvious of a fumble as exists. And I understand the rule is once forward progress is ruled down, there's no reviewing all that stuff. But this is where it becomes a little Calvin Ballish with the rules of heads you win, heads I win, tails you lose. Jalen Hurts is allowed to continue his forward progress while surfing the pile, which is why it's so unstoppable. Right. And what they're saying is the defense is not allowed to take advantage of that. And I thought Brady nailed it on the call. You cannot treat that like it's the goal line. The Drew Brees goal line jump and put the ball over, it didn't matter if the ball got stripped because the play is over the moment it's the goal line. That's not this. And so listen, Brian Dable freaks out all the time. I thought he got a tough whistle yesterday, but I would have lost my mind on this. There was at no moment is Jalen Hurts close to down, and at no moment is he close to stopped. And when they played the audio, it's not like, inadvertent whistle. The whistle came late too. And so I'm not saying this would have changed the game. The Eagles were way better than the Giants yesterday.
But it was 7-7 and they scored.
It was 7-7, and so I just don't understand. You can tell me, Coach, the false starts are hard to see with the naked eye. This is not. And it's baffling to me the lengths that they seem to have trouble officiating this play.
Nick is as obsessed with the Tush Push as people are as obsessed with Kansas City getting all the calls by the officials. You are Tush Push obsessed. And that's your only takeaway from the game. My takeaway from the game is we have a formula that works. When Jalen Hurts throws for less than 30 times, what happens? Oh, I'm sorry. 20 attempts, 15 completions, 4 touchdowns, 179 yards. It works. And then you've got Saquon, he was able to finally get back to form. I think the other interesting thing is with no A.J. Brown, suddenly this offense clicks the way it clicks. As we move closer to the trade deadline, is there the possible addition by subtraction? Is there some, do you look at this and think, maybe all this noise isn't worth the upside or the potential upside?
Coach, A for effort, but it's like this.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well,
I like yours. Yeah. This is more of a
sorry, I got to work on it. I'm trying to get better at it.
Song.
Yeah, look, the A.J. Brown thing you bring up is interesting because if we really look back, and A.J. is a phenomenal player. Right. I loved him back when he was in Tennessee. Like, I mean, he's, before he was like this household name, he is a legitimately great player. But if we look at a lot of their issues, they are he starts them. Like last year, nobody was really thinking about Jalen not being able to pass until he said that. And so I would love, and it sounds like from all the insiders that they're not going to trade him. I would love to keep him, but if I could get like close to equal talent.
Oh, there's not going to be player for player, it'd be draft pick.
Just draft, then I don't want it just for draft picks. I mean, I don't know if Howie Roseman might think. Right, you're S-Bob. But if I could get a couple of really good players or something like that, I might look at it, because Dotson is okay. I mean, obviously Devontae can be a number one receiver. Dotson's okay. But I would want to get another really good receiver. He might not be as good as A.J. Brown, but I would have to get another really good receiver. But my takeaway was just Jalen. He is having a great year. We got this graphic. These are all career highs. He's career highs in all of these categories. It's coming up at some point. But these are touchdown passes, interceptions. Like, here we go. Passer rating, completion percentage, 15-1. That's passes, not fumbles or total touchdowns. And TD percentage and interception percentage. So all of those are career highs. He is throwing the ball incredibly well. But, Coach, I tend to agree. Keep it at about 28, 29 per game.
Under that magic number.
Yeah.
And listen, to be clear, we talked Eagles earlier, and I gave them their flowers, and I think the biggest story of the game actually was Saquon. Was that a blip for the year, or was that a return to form? I agree with that for Philly. But unlike the Chiefs ref conspiracies, there wasn't a vote in the offseason amongst owners where 23 owners said they wanted the Chiefs to be officiated differently. That did happen in Philadelphia. There has not been now 3 separate times where Dean Blandino or Mike Pereira during an Eagles game has to come on and say they got this wrong while Tom Brady is aghast at the false starts or this. And unlike the false starts, KW, this was not hard to see. This was...
It'll be gone next year.
It'll be gone.
It's
not so much about it.
Put the nails in the coffin.
And to me, that's fun. My question is, for the moving forward this season. No, just moving forward this season, are the referees going to allow are they going to let the defense continue to play while the offense is allowed to continue to play on that play? Because so much of it is, like, it's Jalen at times disappears into a scrum, and then there's a second push or whatever.
Yeah.
If during that second push he loses the ball, that should be the cost of doing business of that play. And it's not officiated.
He's not going to lose the ball again this year, though.
He lost it again. He lost it early. That's twice now.
That's the last. He's going to be like, you know what? Now it's like this.
But then it won't be as effective, KW. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.